Get great deals on the latest phones, tablets, and business apps with O2 Business. Hey guys, you're watching BTech. I'm Basil, and this is my home. It's not my home. I don't live here. I wish I lived here. It's a luxury apartment in the heart of Kensington. Hyde Park is a stone's throw away. It's beautiful, but I don't own it. The property developers who do own it though, let us use it to test out the LG G5's ultra wide angle camera and pit it against the likes of the Lumia 950 XL, the Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge, the iPhone 6s Plus, and the Huawei P9. Why? The ultra-wide angle is going to make all the rooms look even bigger than they are, and the estate agents and property developers are going to absolutely love the ability to play with those kinds of images without having to lug around an expensive DSLR with fisheye lens. So I'm going to do that testing now. Thanks again to Ash Ponsonby for letting us use this beautiful, beautiful apartment for filming. Starting out in the standard photo mode, you can see we get pretty much the amount that's between the TV on the left to the window on the right hand side, but as soon as I swap out to wide angle, bam, everything, you see the window and the TV, we're basically getting double as much in frame. Now there is some barreling, some distortion, so that is something you will want to be aware of, but that accounted for. If I was to point down, I can see I've got the couch right through to the far side couch, take the picture, right there is the kind of wide angle lens you're looking at on the LG G5. Moving on to the Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge, and you can see just like the G5, it's kind of compensating for the tungsten lighting in this room, so it's adjusting the white balance nicely, but the actual width of angle isn't quite as wide as just one of the cameras, let alone two. So if I was to snap the picture, you can see I just get the TV in frame along with that window right there. How about the iPhone 6s Plus? Yeah, it's pretty much the same story as the Samsung Galaxy S7, if not even less wide. I can hardly get the window on the right and the TV on the left, so snap that picture. And pulling in the Huawei P9, you can see you've got the window on the right, the TV on the left, and you can just squeeze both in, making this around as wide angle as the LG G5 single lens, but nowhere near its double lens wide angle. So LG G5 is winning it. How about the Microsoft Lumia 950 XL with its incredible camera chops? Pretty much as wide as the S7 Edge, the Microsoft Lumia 950 XL cannot rival the LG G5's wide angle lens, let alone two wide angle lenses. What about a corridor kitchen like this one? Well, pull in the LG G5 and instantly you can see it counteracts the tungsten lighting yet again, but it's getting my hand in frame because it's such a wide angle lens, and we can actually take the snap. Aside from anything, it makes it look pretty cool, but if I angle that white wall out of the way, it makes it look less like a corridor kitchen and more like a much more livable space, even with that barreling and fisheye. All of that, by the way, can be corrected for in Photoshop, so it gets a lot in frame. Pinching in, you've still got respectable levels of detail. You can see there's a lot of softening going on there, especially on the countertop, but when you are an estate agent posting pictures like this at high resolution, it isn't necessarily so much in the pinprick detail that you'll want everything, but rather the overview image itself. Single lens we get from the side of the fridge to the tip of the coffee machine right there. Onto the Samsung Galaxy S7, taking the picture, you can see the side of the fridge right through to the tip of the coffee machine. Yeah, it's not happening. Just a much less wide angle lens. Everything still looks good, and in fact, when I had a quick look at a picture I took earlier, there's less kind of softening going on the countertops. It looks maybe a little bit better when I pinch right into it. At 12 megapixels by contrast to 8 megapixels. That's probably a little surprise, but overall I would rather be posting a corrected version of the other picture with less barreling than this if I was showcasing this property. And it's a similar story for the iPhone. In fact, it's not really a similar story, it's a less wide angle altogether. Right hand side you can see there's a coffee machine, left hand side there's the side of the fridge, so that iPhone interestingly gets the least in frame. If you do have an iPhone and you want to increase the width of your angle of the lens, you can opt for something like an Olo clip. You can see all of them are doing a really decent job of aggressively countering that tungsten white balance and making everything look nice, beautiful and sparse. Onto the P9 and taking the picture, and you can see it's actually not too bad. You've got side of the fridge, side of the coffee machine just in frame if I pull nice and close, pulling into the actual picture itself. Still, you have softening on the countertop, you have some kind of what looks like artifacting, which isn't the correct terminology for it, but you can definitely see some processing in action. Overall though, an attractive picture, but nowhere near as wide angle as the LG G5. Finally, in the narrow kitchen round, we've got the Microsoft Lumia 950 XL. With its optical image stabilized pure view camera, it's gonna do a good job, we know that, but how much can it get in frame? Coffee machine, fridge, pretty much the same as the competition that isn't the LG G5. What you end up with though is a phone that's having to be held a little bit further away from the camera, so it might look like it's getting less than it actually is. Reason for that? It's got a bigger screen. It needs to be the same distance from everything else. So I'm gonna tap through on that picture, and we can take a look at it and instantly see decent levels of detail around the knives and everything. There's a little bit of grain, but you know what? I actually like the grain. I prefer a little bit of grain and nice sharp image than LG's trademark over softening. So if you are going to pinch in on detail, I'd rather do it on a phone like this. But of course, if you want the overview image, the LG G5 still wipes the floor with pretty much all the competition. Well, with all the competition as far as that wide angle goes. So you get to a property and the electricity's gone. What do? You whip out an LG G5 or another phone which has really good low light capabilities. What's amazing about this is the fact that you can actually slow down the shutter speed. So if I had a tripod with this, I could actually reduce shutter speed and just kill all the noise and make this look like pure daylight. But this is in pretty much pure automatic mode. So I can snap a picture and I can see I can get from the left-hand door frame to the middle of the mirror on the right. Take a look at that picture, have a gander at just how noisy it in fact is. And there is noise there, there's no doubt about that, or softening more to the point, but it actually looks pretty sweet to me. Onto the S7 Edge, and I can get from the left-hand side curtain to the middle of the first mirror as opposed to the second mirror, a la LG G5 ultra wide angle, and you can see just nowhere near as much on the left hand side, still brightening things up very nicely and actually making it look very pleasing. The color warmth is really good on this. This is a very attractive image, still bitty, still mottled, still compensating for the terrible light, but we wouldn't expect anything less. That is a very respectable shot given the situation right now in this room. Taking the same shot with the iPhone, and well, there's a lot less in frame. It's still brightening things up very nicely, meaning that both of these phones can cope well in low light situations. Onto Huawei's latest and greatest, and it'll be interesting to see how it copes with low light. Huawei made such a big deal as to how the Leica cameras perform generally. So, and you can actually see that laser autofocus picked up by the camera there. Let's see how it actually stacks up in a real world low light scenario. First off, the wide angle not as wide, we established that earlier, but take the picture, all of these handheld, all of these done on the fly, so it's going to be relatively similar in terms of the kind of shake they're getting, and you've got actually a decent competitive shot. Moving on to the Microsoft Lumia 950 XL, and you can see same kind of wide angle lens, or not as wide angle as the LG G5, but you will probably get a decent shot. You can very clearly see the image stabilization in play there using the physical shutter key. Took a picture, and we can tap through on the picture and take a look at it. Flash firing on the G5, we can start off with a single lens, and we can instantly see you've got heavy focus of flash on the left hand side, less so on the right, and jump out of that. If that's the case with the narrow angle, highly doubt the flash algorithms are going to change too much to enable a magic flash. So I'm guessing we are going to end up with, oh yeah, a pretty eerie shot, so you can see exactly the extent to which your flash is going to work. So yes, we've got a wide angle shot, but is this something I'd want to be putting on a poster or selling this property with? Probably not. So that's the limitation of the G5's camera, the flash fire in wide angle. Taking the same shot on the Samsung Galaxy S7, and you can see as I tap through on that, I snap the picture. Top of the cupboard handle was what was tapped on, and it looks pretty good to me. The flash cover peters out towards the right hand side, although you can still make out those elements right there. As for the iPhone, do exactly the same. Tap through on the top, snap the picture, double tap. Looks like a pretty clean picture. Then on the right hand side again, flash cover peaks out with it concentrating on the left, unsurprisingly. So the cupboard is slanting away from us. So we're really putting the flash through its paces right now. Onto the Huawei P9, and if I tap through on the top right there, flash fires, shot taken. It looks less impressive with the flash than the Samsung did on screen, although that might change when we get the pictures of here, although you do still get those elements. But yeah, now you can really see what I was talking about with the noise. It just looks a little bit more mottled and grainy. And finally, we have the Microsoft Lumia 950. Tap through, turn the flash on, fire the shot, bam, that was bright. Bam, that looks yellow, yellower than it is. So the white balance on this, it just got corrected in post-processing. Ha, funny, haha. Instantly better though. And that looks like a really, really beautiful handle. That sounds weird, but you get what I mean because you've been watching this whole video, hopefully. So to summarize our findings with the pictures off of the phones, the LG G5 has indeed got the widest angle of them all. The S7 Edge has not quite as wide an angle. Still, it does have a wider angle than the iPhone 6s Plus, which came in with the narrowest angle of view. The Huawei P9 had a similar angle to the Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge, while the Microsoft Lumia 950 XL actually beat out the competition, save for the LG G5, of course. Moving on to our narrow kitchen, and the LG G5 obviously produces a wide angle, but it makes everything nice and white. The S7 Edge maybe gets a little bit more of that tungsten lighting in, whereas the iPhone 6s Plus and indeed the Huawei P9 both cool things down, but not quite as much as the LG G5. Moving on to the Microsoft Lumia 950 XL, and it kept things cool, but it exposed everything just that little bit less. In the low light shot, it figures that detail is really what's going to be telling, so we decided to zoom in. The LG G5 shows some mottling, shows some noise, but also shows some decent color handling. Moving on to the Samsung S7 Edge, not quite as decent in terms of color handling, but represses noise with post-processing. The iPhone 6s Plus is actually probably the best picture thus far, and the Huawei P9 is a few steps behind the iPhone, but at least the color's on point. As for the Lumia 950 XL, really like it, probably on par with the iPhone. Given the fact LG's wide angle shot can't quite hack the flash, making it look like something from the Blair Witch Project, we thought we'd go with a regular shot, and it does a good job, though there is heavy weighting on the left. The Samsung Galaxy S7 provides more even flash coverage across the whole image, and the iPhone 6s Plus does a good job. The Huawei P9 looks good, though there's heavy mottling on the right hand side, and the Microsoft Lumia 950 XL is still a bit yellow once again. So there you have it, a wide angle camera that is wider than wide. Thanks again to Ash Ponsonby for letting us use this place, and the LG G5. It makes rooms look huge, and if you're prepared to use a tripod, you can increase the shutter speed, counteract noise, make low light situations look like day. What more could an estate agent or property developer want? Get great deals on the latest phones, tablets and business apps with O2 Business.